This video will cover the 4.4 enhancements that were added to PinPoint. We're going to start by looking at the ability to assign or remove workflow in bulk. So before, if you were to locate a document and need to assign workflow to this manually or remove a workflow manually, you would simply open the file. And on the left side here, you would either assign a workflow, or if it had one assigned already, you could remove it and then save that when you're done. So you could always do that. Now you can select multiple documents, then go to the group action button and either assign a workflow to all three of them at once or remove a workflow from all three of them at once. In this case, I will assign. And then after I click yes, I can simply pick which workflow I want assigned, and then I submit. So now all three of those documents will have that workflow assigned to them. And in a moment here, I will remove that same workflow. So in this case, I'll just pick the same three, go to my group action button, and this time I will remove that workflow from all three. The next thing is the ability to view MP4 videos, or video files, I should say, within the document quick view. So you could always open a video file and view the video right there on the preview screen. We now have it that when you click the doc ID, you can watch the video in the quick view as well. So simple added feature there. Again, you can always click the doc ID of a normal file type or a file, in this case PDF, Word file, whatever it might be. And when you click the doc ID, it gives you a quick view like this, but now you can do that and view a video file in the quick view as well. The next one involves the system date format. So by default, the date format will be month, day, year. But if you want a different date format in your file room, just let your project manager know, and that can be changed in the backend so that system-wide you can have a different date format input. The next thing involves distribution rules, which are again created so that our automated robot Airy can read the content on the first page of a document and based on a distribution rule, know where it goes. The new feature with that, if I go to admin, Airy distribution rules, or I click the shortcut here on the admin dashboard, the new feature is when I need to use exclusive subdividers in my rules. So you might at your folder level have some subdividers that are assigned exclusively to folders. Before this update, when you were setting up a distribution rule, you were not able to, oh, it's gonna make me pick a name here. I'll just call it employee resume rule, I'll call it. And if I went down here and I chose employee cabinet and I get to my subdivider list, before this update, it would only show you the subdividers that were set as the defaults for all folders in a cabinet. However, now you have the option of including an exclusive subdivider in your rule. If you do use an exclusive subdivider in your rule, what you will want to do then after you save it is go to that rule and then under actions, click the second button, the link to folder button. So what you then do is after creating that rule with the exclusive subdivider, simply click link to folder, and you will be able to assign that particular folder that the exclusive subdivider is assigned to. That way it always goes into that folder, that subdivider. The next thing we're going to look at is onboarding. So when I log in and I go to my onboards, we'll see there are currently 2 active onboards that I am assigned to and I'm keeping track of. The new function is the ability to mark any of the steps in the onboard completed. So whereas before, anytime a step, or in this case, a document type that was assigned to a step was added, that would be marked complete automatically. And it still does that, though when you set up an onboard step, you can mark it manual if you'd like, which means the person assigned to the onboard has to mark it completed, or again, they can reverse that and mark it incomplete. So you now have the ability to mark any step in the workflow complete or incomplete manually. And to do that, I would go to admin, where I set up my onboards, click on onboards here, and simply go into my steps for this workflow. And you'll see these two were marked not manual. This one was marked manual. So how I did that was just simply check this box here for any step in the workflow that will make it a manual completion task. This next one involves document reminders. So if I need to set document reminders with a specific document and have a set frequency, I'm now able to do so. So for that, here I'm going to go into a single FX button next to the document that I want to set a reminder for. And this is going to be an email reminder. So when I click on FX, I can scroll down, and here is a new option for email reminder. When I select this, a pop-up window will appear for me to select what email template I want this document going with. So I'll select my employee PAF template that I've created, and then I can set which frequency it needs to be set, or I should say sent out as a reminder. So I could say yearly, every 6 months, quarterly, and so forth. Maybe it's just one time. So I can enter one time as a frequency, and then I enter the start date, which I'll say tomorrow, and I can simply save that. So now tomorrow, this document will get sent as an attachment with my email template to the person I've assigned it to. And then if I needed to, again, I might update that here by clicking on it. If I had said yearly, it'll still send tomorrow, but without me having to do anything now, it'll send it again January 26th, 2023. So I can have it set to an automated frequency so that it keeps sending that email reminder based on that time frame. Now, how does it know who to send this to? Well, it's all based on the email template that I chose. So if I go back to admin and I go to file room, email templates. Now, we've always had the ability to create email templates. So if you ever email a document from PinPoint, you can use one of your email templates to populate the body. We've added this new button here that goes along with the email reminder. So if you noticed a moment ago when I set that email reminder for that document, I chose, my only option was this employee PAF template, this email template. If I click this button, I can see who it would send that to when it's assigned. So right now I've only picked Drew Johnson. So as it stands, that document tomorrow that I set the reminder for, it's going to go to the email set in Drew Johnson's profile. He's a user. That's just one way to do it though. So I could have it go to whichever users I want. I could go by an entire group of users on the left instead of picking individual names. I don't have to send it to a PinPoint user at all. I could go down here and just enter specific emails that need to be sent this specific email reminder, or I can use the cabinet email field. So if a cabinet has an email field like this one, I can utilize that instead of entering any emails, selecting a group of users, or selecting individuals. Now I could do any combination of those, but when I choose an email field, what happens is if I look back at a document, we'll just pick on an employee document. So I'll search for one. And we'll just pick on, I'll look in a certain folder. So we pick on this person. So if I was to send out an email reminder for this document, I would go to FX, click on email reminder, and I would pick my employee PAF template, which we now know is going to send it to whatever email is filled in for that folder the document is in. So if I said, yearly starting tomorrow and save. So if I click on Regina's folder, we see, and I apologize for this, they don't have an email filled in. But if there was an email filled in for Regina's folder, it would send it to that specific email. So if I was to then pick on a different folder, and real quick, I'm just going to find one that has an email, because so this one here, this ML Hope. So let me find one of those. Okay, so if I click on her folder information, she has her email filled in for that email field that we assigned to the email template. So if I said email reminder for this document and set it with my employee PAF template, which we know is going to send it to whatever email is filled in for the email folder field, I can set the frequency and when it starts and then save. So tomorrow, this document will get sent with my template as the body to this email. Now, if I went to a different folder, I could set the same reminder, same template, and it will use whatever email they have filled in for that folder. The final function involves logging in as the master admin account. So you would have to be logged in as that specific master admin to do this next function. So I'm going to simply log out and log in as the master admin for this file room. This last function involves rearranging the folder fields as well as the document type fields. So for example, if I look at my folders now in employees, and I see they're in name, ID number, contact number, and so forth, I might want that email field moved closer to the front. So if I go to cabinets and I pick on that employee cabinet, I could take that email field down here and put it all the way to the top with that double arrow. Or again, I could go row by row with the single arrows. So I've moved the email field to the top and I'm going to save that. Now, everywhere in PinPoint where those folder details are displayed, including where I just was, it will now be in that order. And that's helpful not just for visual perspective in this case, but also in the case of a naming convention. Maybe you're setting up a variable name. And if you wanted to include any of the folder fields in the naming convention, I'm just confirming, you only have the first 5 as an option. So email field would not have been an option before, but now it's one of the first 5. So again, if I say add variable name, you'll notice down here folder field 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you only have the option of the first 5 folder fields in your naming convention, but now you can move any of the fields that you have already that are lower in that list up to the top if they need to be added to a naming convention. And the same goes for document fields. So if I go to doc types and I click on a doc type, you'll notice the same thing. I can reorder the doc type fields. And of course, whether you rearrange a folder field or a document type field, that does not affect the data. The data moves over with that column, so that way, nothing is changed. So that does conclude all of the new enhancements that were added in 4.4. For additional training resources, if you go to help and then the manual, everything we've talked about today will be described throughout the manual. Each function either has its own page, or for example, if you go to document handling FX functions, that'll go through every single FX action we have in that menu. But all of the things that we've talked about today are in the manual for you to review. If I close this and go back, there is a self-paced training site as well, where we have short videos now for you to review.